This is your stimulus check update, second stimulus check update, stimulus package update, and the latest stimulus news. As always, my videos pertain to everybody, including Social Security recipients, retirement, disability, and survivors, SSI recipients, supplemental security income, VA beneficiaries, as well as low income, no income, the underdog, the big dog, the little dog, and all the dogs, as well as the underrepresented. But hey everybody, my name is Matt. Welcome back to another video. I hope you're having a great Friday so far. Today is Friday, September 25th. Already. But hey, let's get right into this. We have a lot to talk about. If you're new here or you're not subscribed for any reason, please be sure to hit the subscribe button, and thank you so much for allowing me to be your advocate. It truly means a lot to me. So let's get right into it. Let's hit it and talk about this information. As I brought to you yesterday in a late afternoon video, Nancy Pelosi and friends being the Democrats, are working up their new $2.4 trillion stimulus proposal. This is great. We're finally having some more movement on the stimulus talks after all of the chaos that we've had in Congress and the government in just the last few days here, the last week or so. So this is good. We're talking about stimulus once again. Good stuff. Nancy Pelosi mentioned that Republicans should be the one to offer concessions on the next stimulus bill. However, we have Democratic lawmakers gathering signatures on a letter to Nancy Pelosi urging her to bring a streamlined stimulus bill to the floor next week, suggesting Americans are counting on us and they cannot wait any longer. Hooray! We finally have some lawmakers who recognize that that American people are struggling and we can't wait any longer. I feel like this statement was relevant, I don't know, 5-6 months ago. But at least we're pointing this out, and we have backing from many lawmakers signing this letter, which they will deliver to Nancy Pelosi, hopefully urging her to come together on a deal. But of course, we can't push all the blame on Nancy. We need all parties to come together and work together on this. We need a bipartisan agreement. Everybody needs to agree on this. We've also had many statements from government officials, as well as the Federal Reserve Chairman, Jerome Powell, making statements that without additional stimulus, it's highly likely that there will be additional economic stalls or economic contraction. That is basically the last thing that people in Congress and the government want to hear is economic contraction, economic stall. They don't want to hear those words. They want a vibrant economy that is moving very quickly and growing rapidly. So, everybody recognizes without additional stimulus, the economy could take another hit. So, interesting. Also, I want to talk about airlines. This is interesting. As we look back on the CARES Act, the $2.2 trillion stimulus bill that was passed back in March, it included $25 billion of bailouts for airlines. Well, one of the covenants within that bailout, the $25 billion bailout for airlines, was that they could not lay off any employees until October 1st. Well, hey, guess what? October 1st is next week. If they don't get another bailout, which I talked about this, I believe it was last week, the airline CEOs were talking to the government asking for another $25 billion in bailouts. So here's the deal. If they don't get another 25 billion, or I shouldn't say 25 billion, if they don't get another bailout, if they don't get more money, next week, we could be seeing tens of thousands of layoffs just across the airlines next week alone, because that's when October 1st hits. And I mean, they're out of the woods then. They can start laying people off because that is one of the covenants, like I just said, within that CARES Act and the bailouts that they got back in March. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. I would imagine that Congress wants to get them their bailouts to avoid those tens of thousands of people potentially facing layoffs, furloughs, or possibly permanent termination. So that's scary. I mean, the job market is already really bad. Just consider more like tens of thousands of additional people hitting the unemployment lines, unemployment claims. That's pretty sad for all those people. Also, Congress is scheduled to go on recess in a week. Next Friday is basically their last day of work for a month until after the elections. However, we did have Nancy Pelosi out, I think it was earlier this week, suggesting that Congress will not go on recess until they have a stimulus deal. So We'll see about that. We will continue to watch this and see what happens in a week from now. It'll be very interesting to see if they hit the road, even though they've said, nah, we're going to stick around. We'll see about this. However, if they do leave, they can be called back for emergency voting if there is a vote to be had on this next stimulus proposal. All right, so let's talk about this new stimulus proposal that the Democrats are working on, this $2.4 trillion bill. Let's talk about what it includes and where we go from here. Now, we don't have specific price tags on all of these different elements within the bill. However, as soon as we get that information, of course, I'll bring it to you right away. But these are some of like the headliners that we're talking about. Let's get right into this and talk about it. So, of course, there is that additional bailout for airlines. Everybody says it's a loan. Let's be honest, it's not a loan, it's a bailout. I mean, let's just say it how it is. It's a bailout. It's free tax money to the airlines, which they will never pay back. I mean, that's honestly what it is. That's how it always is. It's free money and they'll never get it back. So, with that being said, state and local government funding. So this has always been in there. They always want state and local government funding. There's additional, those enhanced unemployment benefits for the unemployed. Those are in there. Again, we don't know what rate they're going to be at. Previously, they were at the $600 rate per week. Then it dropped down to the $300 with President Trump's executive orders. But again, we don't know what rate it's going to be at. There it is. Second round, stimulus checks. They're in there. Second round of stimulus checks. Here's the deal. We don't know what it includes as far as, is it going to be $1,200? Is it going to be $1,000? Is it going to be more? We have no idea what it's going to be. All we know is the stimulus checks are in there. We don't know what the price will be on those. Again, we don't know. Is it going to include dependents, adult dependents? Is it going to be $1,200? Is it going to be $500 for dependents? We don't know that. Is it going to have a retroactive pay for dependents? Again, we don't know. We need to wait for all those details, but either way, stimulus checks are in there. So that's great stuff. That's what we want to hear, right? That's what everybody's here for. Everybody wants to know, when are we getting that next round of stimulus checks? Like, stop waiting, people. We need it now. Again, there's money in there for elections, and there's money in there for the infamous post office. So they always have to throw that in there every time. I feel like if you guys are trying to save money, take that out. You don't need to give them an additional 10 or 20, whatever billion dollars. So here's the deal. The House is planning to vote on this stimulus bill next week. We'll see if a vote actually happens. We are hoping that vote happens. So if it votes and if they vote on it and they pass it through the House, that's great stuff. Here's what we anticipate they're going to do. Rather than taking it to the Senate, we anticipate they're going to take this passed bill through the House and they're going to present it directly to President Trump, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, as well as the Chief of, White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows. We anticipate they're going to take this passed bill and bring it straight to those three guys. And they're going to they have three options. They can say, yes, we approve, we can counteroffer, or they can deny it. They can do any of those three options. So here's the deal. These three guys are going to negotiate on the behalf of the Senate. As we know, Mitch McConnell in the Senate, he has said many times, whether he agrees or disagrees, he will go along with whatever President Trump approves. So if President Trump approves this $2.4 trillion package, even Mitch McConnell has said many times over the last several weeks or month or so, whatever it's been a long time. He's said it a couple times even. He said, even if I don't agree, I will still support it. So we'll see what happens. We anticipate it's going to go straight to these guys and they will negotiate on the behalf of the Senate. Once they agree, yes, we'll agree with this. We want to counter it with just a little bit here, whatever they decide to do, then they'll pass it on to the Senate and basically say, the three leaders that are representing the Republicans have approval of this, and they're basically going to send it to the Senate and say, here, guys, push this through, pass it. Just vote on it, pass it. We have support from President Trump, and all the other guys. So we anticipate that's what's going to happen. We will continue watching this very closely, as always. And as soon as we get more information on this, we will bring it to you right away. So hopefully, like I said yesterday, hopefully the fifth time is the charm, because this is proposal number 5. for the next stimulus deal. Wow, 5 proposals already. We're running out of time. So hopefully the 5th one is the charm. Have a great Friday, everybody. I'll catch you later. See ya. Thanks so much.